G'day everyone, Damien here again, and today's video is the next in my series of what you were taught wrong about money. Now, today we're going to deal with never borrow more than 80%, never pay mortgage insurance, okay? I hear this all the time. Now, what's really interesting about this is that it's actually not very good advice, and I'll tell you why. Let's say I've got $100,000 to invest, and I decide to go and purchase a $400,000 property because I'm going to follow this rule, never borrow more than 80%, never pay mortgage insurance. Now, if you borrow more than 80% on a property, they're going to charge you mortgage insurance, okay? So, and that could be $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. It can be a lot, especially around that price point. So you think, oh geez, that's a lot of money, I'm not going to do that, so I'm only going to borrow 80%. So you buy one house for $400,000 and you have an $80,000 deposit because that's what you need for a 20% deposit on $400,000. And then the other 20 grand goes towards your stamp duty and legals, and you spent your 100 grand and now you own a $400,000 home with a $320,000 mortgage. Now, where will we end up? Well, we talk about double cycles at Integrity. We don't try and predict how many years it's going to take. We just say, okay, in however many years it is to double, where will you be? Well, your property will be worth $800,000 because 400 double is 800, and your mortgage, if it's interest free the whole time, the worst case scenario will be $320 still. So you'll have made $480,000. If you follow that rule, in one double cycle, buy one house for 400 with a 320 mortgage. Double cycle later, it's worth 800, still 320, you've got 480 grand of equity. Remember that figure. Follow the rule, you end up with 480. Now let's come back a step. Now we're going to break the rules. Now what we're going to do is we're going to gear right up. And with that $100,000, we're going to buy two $400,000 homes. We're going to get in there with the bare minimum deposit, and we're going to pay the mortgage insurance, and we're going to pay everything else. And let's say with the mortgage insurance added all in, we end up with a mortgage of 380. So we're really geared right up there. Now, that's okay, especially now where interest rates are quite low and we can fix it for 5 years. That's okay as long as the rent and the tax return are still covering the bills. It's okay to do that. Don't do that on a hugely negatively geared property. In fact, don't even buy negatively geared property. But let's just say hypothetically, we're going to break the no LMI rule. We now got two $400,000 properties with $380,000 mortgages on each. What happens in the double cycle? Well, over on the other side of the cycle, we've now got two $800,000 homes. Okay, in the first example we had one. Now we've got two, so $1.6 million worth of property. Now, if we kept our $380,000 mortgages, interest only the whole time, we'd have $760 in good debt, still there. But how much equity would we have? The answer, 1.6 minus $760,000 is $840,000 of equity. $840,000 of equity. Now in the first example where we followed the no LMI rule, we ended up with 480. So we've now got an extra $360,000 of equity because we didn't listen to the rule. We paid the mortgage insurance up front. So this LMI rule, don't pay LMI rule, I believe it's wrong. As long as the property pays for itself with the extra debt, then gear up, put all your risk management in place and hang on to it. Hang on to it forever and you're going to make a lot more money. The desire to save that mortgage insurance at the start might have saved you 10, 20, 30 grand up front, but it lost you 360 grand one double cycle later, okay? When you do the numbers don't lie. That's it from me today. If you learned something from this post, please comment, like and share it with your friends. Let's get this knowledge out there. But just a word of warning on gearing up, you've got to make sure that you're getting those healthy yields and the good tax returns and the low maintenance costs to keep the cash flow going. If you're trying to look for those sorts of properties, come and talk to us. Of course, we can help you do all that. That's it from me. I'll see you next week. Cheers.